So this is the opening of our Orit, California level, and this is all captured in-game. We use it as a movie to mask the load, but it's all completely in-game. It shows off a lot of our new really cool technology, like our self-shadowing, our light scattering, depth of field, motion blur, all the cool stuff that we've been adding to the Insomniac engine for this third-generation game. The story here is that Nathan Hale, who you're seeing, is with his Sentinel team, and they're chasing one of the Chimeran battleships that they damaged in the Battle of San Francisco. So they're off into the redwood forest of California towards this lumber town where the ship is at. But something's gone wrong, and there's a blockage in the road, and now you're going to kind of see what happens and then what takes place after the convoy is ambushed. This also really nicely shows our motion capture. We use motion capture for the first time in Insomniac, and it's turned out really well. We also motion captured the camera. We use the InterSense camera, which allows you to mocap the actors first and then go back and do the camera later. So you can capture the performance from tons of different angles. It's really nice. So we were trying to keep the story right in Nathan Hale's perspective the whole time. The cutscenes are always focusing on him. You go right from the cutscene into his view. It's picking up. There's all this smoke and fog and debris. So Billy's using the Marksman right now, and the Marksman's kind of our mid-range battle rifle. It's really great because it's scoped, it fires a 3-shot burst. It also has an awesome alt fire where it can fire out electrostatic orbs that are kind of like automated turrets and do a lot of damage. Great for flushing out enemies, a bunch of enemies behind some cover. We really like the beginning of this level because it kind of gives you this awesome like chaos and a little bit of confusion. You know, you're just seeing the fire coming out of the fog, and you don't really know, fog and smoke, and you don't really know like what's going on. So you're just kind of blindly fighting your way through this mass before you kind of get out into the clearing. So there's the electrostatic orb like wreaking havoc. It went up and started firing electricity down on all those guys on the ridge. So now we met up with the guys that are still alive, are kind of getting out of the smoke, finding all their dead bodies. There's been this big battle going on. We definitely have amped up the gore too. You see a lot of the blood splattered on the ground. If you use grenades on enemies, they are very apt to explode into lots of chunky pieces. We have some really visceral weapons like this Magnum. When you shoot it, the round will stay lodged in the enemy, and then you can hit the alt fire to blow it up afterwards, which is great for taking out his buddy. Just blew those guys up. Oh, throw a grenade into him, maybe. Oh, too late. So we also, like we have those big battle moments, we also have, you know, we really want to focus on the pacing and some really creepy moments. So here's kind of another example of the gore. You can also see our new water technology. All these soldiers are leaving ripples. You can see the splash, you leave a wake as you go. So if you get a lot of objects interacting, it's really cool. At some points in the game, there's tons of enemies running through the water, and you'll see tons of ripples and things like that. You saw all that guy's guts. The water is also reflective and refractive too, which is really a technical challenge.
Sir, I was just scouting up ahead.
So that was the Chameleon, and this is one of our new enemies for Resistance 2. They are cloaked enemies that sneak around, and you'll usually hear them just a couple seconds before they're about to pounce. You'll hear them running at you, and you just kind of have to take them out, and it's a very snap reflex. If they get to you, you're dead. So the Chimera sent some patrol drones into the forest, and these guys now have to take these drones out before they report back to the Chimera where Hale and his buddies are. You can see how like some of our tech has allowed us to make this vast forest. We have a lot of light scattering to kind of give it that forest feel. Oh, and your buddy just got owned. Some intense moments, and these guys don't just inhabit forests. They're in all sorts of places. So a lot of times when you least expect it, you'll hear one coming at you. Now we see this patrol drone kind of going through the forest, so maybe it'd be a good idea to follow it. One of the nice things about setting the game in the 1950s America is that it really gives us these diverse environments. So you're in Iceland in the first level, you travel to the Redwood Forest, you're in San Francisco, you're in Twin Falls, Idaho, you end up in Chicago. There's all these really, really cool places we can play with, and we have several more that we haven't announced yet. Even I'm freaking out, and I'm not even playing right now. So you see some of the God rays. I mean, we just really have amped up the tech for R2. Spent a lot of time on it. This is one of my favorite scenes coming up here. Nice ripples from the water. I love this view right here. It's one of my, between the God rays and the way everything looks. Now these guys are spinners, and they can't really attack you because you're immune to the Chimera virus, but the Chimera are no longer using the big conversion centers that they used in Resistance 1 in this invasion. They're sending in the spires filled with spinners who then crawl around and subdue the population and then spin them into these cocoons. These bake them into the grims that you see later. It's kind of the fast way to turn guys around, or turn people into Chimera, even though they aren't like the armored trained soldiers. They're just kind of the mindless, hungry grims. And later in the game, these are very fresh, but later in the game you see close to baked pods, and when you shoot them they explode and the grim body falls out. So now we're coming up on some of the scouts. So now we're just about around to the town itself. And Auric was caught in the middle of an evacuation. So we now have the first view of the town. We see the Chimeran battleship that's floating overhead. And we also see the remnants of what people were evacuating when the Spire hit right beside all their cars.
On the interior engines. They could take off at any second.
So as we come up here, we're going to run into another one of our new enemies. This is the Ravager. And this guy has a big gun, and he also carries a shield. So if you're putting down a lot of fire on him, he's going to throw his shield up, and then he's going to rush you with the shield. These guys are pretty nasty and mean, and their gun has a lot of battles. So as soon as Billy starts firing on him, you see the shield come up. So it makes it really hard to do a lot of damage. Now, Billy's a pro, and has killed many Ravagers in his day. He carries the skulls around on his belt, so there's no issue for Billy when killing Ravagers. Trust me, I've seen Ted die demoing that several times today. So you can hear one of our radio broadcasts. Henry Stillman is in Philadelphia, and you'll constantly be picking up his broadcasts across the game and hearing more about what's going on in the rest of the country and how good old Henry's doing, being the only person left alive in Philadelphia. So now this is kind of where we'll end this part of the demo. This is one of our big battles with one of the Titans, and we've given the Titans quite of a facelift from the first game, just like all the enemies, but they still can pack quite the punch. So Billy's using the bullseye tag, and it's still the alt fire for the bullseye. All the weapons have different alt fires, just like Resistance 1. Stick an air fuel grenade on him. So now Billy's gonna go and grab the Lark, everyone's favorite R1 weapon. And the Lark's secondary fire now fires off a whole storm of mini rockets. And a couple of those, and the Titan's just going to get turned into some big chunks. Again, showing the new gore that's present in the game. So that's Auric. Okay, we get that one too.